So if you are experiencing any of these signs, you're probably pregnant. Congratulations, and yes, take the test.
Hey, you got it, girl. You got, yeah, pretty little thing.
Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today, as you can see by the title, I will be discussing pregnancy symptom signs that you should not ignore. If you're thinking that you're pregnant, wondering that you're pregnant, these are the signs that you should not ignore. These signs should not be ignored because there's a possibility you have a bun in the oven. So if you want to learn all about it, just keep on watching. Okay, so the first sign is, of course, missed period. If you miss your period, sis, you might be pregnant. So I'm not really sure if you guys have like irregular periods, irregular, whatever, because I know some people do have irregular periods. Sometimes they're missed, sometimes they don't even get it at all. Sometimes they're late, sometimes like I don't know. I'm one of those girls. I used to have a regular period, but then birth control kind of had me all over the place. But you know your body. So if you have an irregular period and you know like, oh, my period's supposed to come on the 5th, but it always ends up being 5 days late, and that's like your continuing like pattern, I guess. Like you know your body. So like you know your body. Missed period is one of the number one symptoms of pregnancy. So me, I missed my period by 1 day or 2 days, I can't remember, and it made me want to take a test. So and I'm not ever late. So you may have a irregular period, you may have a regular period. Did I just say the same thing twice? Pregnancy brain. You may have an irregular period or a regular period, and you might say like, I missed my period before a few times and I wasn't pregnant, because that did happen to me as well. And you might say like, oh, sometimes my period don't come at all. So it just depends on the person. It just depends on the body. But missed period is definitely like the number one sign of pregnancy. So if you miss your period, take a test for sure. Number 2 is discharge. So, okay, a lot of people get like ovulation with like pregnancy discharge a little confused and stuff. So ovulation typically always happens right after, wait, when does it happen? Ovulation happens before your period typically. So usually like, what is it, 2 weeks? So 2 weeks before your period, you ovulate, and it's like discharge and, you know, TMI, like just stuff down there and everything. So that does not end. Like once you're pregnant, and like one of those first, like especially in the beginning, because like your body's building up like the mucus and like all the cervical mucus that it needs to like basically build like a blockage, so your baby is like protected. Discharge does not end. Like discharge, I'm 30 weeks, almost 8 months, and I still get discharged. So discharge is definitely another symptom that you should not ignore, and you should take a test if you're receiving like more discharge than usual, because like there's like regular discharge, of course, it's like okay, it's here and there, but then it stops and it doesn't really come back until like your period is close or your period is away, whatever. But like pregnancy discharge is like literally every day, like every single day you are getting more discharge than normal, like so much discharge that you need a panty liner, because it's like almost like period but discharge like that. You should not ignore that, girl. You could possibly be pregnant. Number 3 is cramping. So this is like, most of these symptoms are associated with like period symptoms, which makes it so hard for girls to even know whether they should take the test or not, because of these particular symptoms. Like they are so similar to period symptoms. It's like crazy. So cramping, everybody knows when your period's about to come, you start getting like little cramps. Some people don't even get cramps. You're lucky, because mine were terrible, and that's just the one thing I'm happy I don't have anymore. But I don't know what I'm going to do when I start my period again, because like cramps, like mine were terrible. Cramping is another pregnancy sign. So you'll start feeling like cramping super low, like lower abdomen, just feels just like period cramps, but they're like not as consistent. It's kind of like they're all over the place. And then like it's like they stop, they come, like it's not like consistent. Like period cramps are kind of consistent. It's like, okay, the 2 days before my period, I'm cramping. The next day, the day I have my period, and I don't know, I have a 4-day period. So like the first 2 days, like it's cramping so bad, but then it gradually stops because it's like, okay, my period's ending, so the cramps are going away. But no, like with pregnancy, it's like you're still getting these cramps. And it's like, where's your period? Where's the blood? I have cramps, but no blood. So that's basically the sign you shouldn't ignore. Cramps with no blood, 9 times out of 10 is pregnancy. Like that's a pregnancy sign and a pregnancy symptom. I cramped for like 2 weeks prior to even getting my period, and I finally missed my period and I still was cramping. So I'm like, okay, at this point it's time to take a test, because where's the blood? Where is Aunt Flo? What's going on? Next is frequent urination. So like I said, like you know your body. You know if you go to the bathroom 5 times a day, you know if you go to the bathroom 10 times a day. But if you go 5 times a day and then now it increased to 10, that's frequently. That frequent urination is definitely a pregnancy sign you should not ignore, because based on like your uterus and everything like growing and forming for your baby and getting itself together, it causes you to want to go to the bathroom more often, especially farther along in the pregnancy when your baby's actually like sitting on your bladder like my son is. Like if you find yourself taking more trips to the bathroom, that's a sign you should not ignore. I never experienced that, but I've heard of so many women who first find out like they're pregnant and they're like going to the bathroom constantly every 5 seconds in the beginning. They're like, what did I do? Like, why am I going to the bathroom so much? So frequent urination is definitely a sign you shouldn't ignore, and it's a possibility that you are pregnant if you are peeing a lot. The next one, which ruined my entire first trimester, is morning sickness. Morning sickness, which is technically all day sickness, so I don't know why it's called morning sickness. You don't even have to necessarily throw up, but just that feeling of like nausea and like gagging and just like something just coming up in your throat is just so disgusting. Morning sickness is definitely a sign you should not ignore, and you are probably pregnant if you're feeling nauseous every single day, and or throwing up. Actually, like if you're actually throwing up out the blue and it's just like you're not sick, you didn't eat anything bad, you didn't change your diet, you didn't like your appetite's the same, and then all of a sudden you're just feeling so nauseous, or foods that you loved is like making you sick now, or like certain smells is making you sick, you could possibly be pregnant. Like honestly, that is one of probably the worst parts of pregnancy. I know some women who throw up and have morning sickness the entire time. For me, it was just the first trimester and it was horrible. But yes, morning sickness is a sign you should definitely look out for, and you should not ignore. If you are feeling sick in any way, take a test. So the next one is not really as common, but it does happen to a lot of women, and it did happen to me in the beginning, which is like severe headaches and constant headaches. So like everyone had a headache before, and you have headache like what, once every now and then, but if you're having headaches, like I was having headaches every day, at least 2 to 3 times a day for a consistent period of time. So if you're having headaches and like you don't know where they're coming from, like you're taking the medication, nothing's working, you're drinking all the water you need to drink, and you're still experiencing headaches, this can be another sign or symptom that you're having a baby and that you're pregnant and that you need to take a test. Headaches aren't as common as all the rest of the signs and symptoms, but it's still a sign and symptom. The next one, of course, which is obvious, is if you even took a pregnancy test and it becomes positive, you shouldn't ignore that. Like, there are false positives because there's something called an EVAP line, which if you take a pregnancy test and there's two lines and one looks kind of faint, but it may or may not be there, and then the other one's like dark, that could be a false positive, which is basically like the test just, it got messed up. The test was a mess. When you take a pregnancy test and it looks positive and has the two lines, but one looks like super faint and it's like you're not sure, sometimes that could be like a false positive. And false positives does give people hopes up if they are trying to get pregnant. So that's why a lot of people just want the test that just says like pregnant or not pregnant. But if your lines are dark, you have two dark lines, you're pregnant, like for sure. If you have like even like a medium like line and then like a dark line, more than likely you're pregnant. EVAP lines, like I wish I can find a picture. If I can find a picture, I'll insert it right now. The substance that even makes a positive pregnancy test is called HCG, and that's only a hormone that pregnant women can produce. And if you have a positive pregnancy test, that means that HCG is activated, which means you're pregnant for sure. A lot of women take more than one test, but 9 times out of 10, more so 10 times out of 10, if your positive pregnancy test is positive, you're pregnant. Next is sleeping more. If you feel more exhausted, your energy is just low, that is a pregnancy sign you should not ignore. Your body is working twice as hard to produce more like nutrients and blood, because for you and your baby, it takes more energy to create a baby and try to provide for your own needs as a human. So your body just gets more tired. So if you find yourself falling asleep in class, falling asleep at work, sleeping more hours throughout the night, that could be a sign of pregnancy and you should not ignore it. You should probably take a test if you're sleeping like so much and you just feel so exhausted. You're probably not pregnant, but that is still a pregnancy symptom that you should not ignore. Lastly is cravings. So if you are craving all types of weird things that you've never ate before, you're probably pregnant. Cravings and just like wanting something badly are, like, to me, two different things. Like, if you want something badly, it's like, okay, I want it, but I can go without it, or if I don't get it, it's fine. But like a craving is like, you're like a dog. Like, you cannot survive without it. Like, that's how dramatic it is. It's serious, it's real. Like, cravings is just like out of this world. Like, I will get up at 4 a.m. if I'm craving something and literally go to the store. I need to get it. So cravings are serious. That's not a myth. That's not just something, oh, you're just being greedy or you're just pregnant. Like, no, like cravings are real things. So if you're just craving like the same thing over and over and over again, it's like you have to have it, take the test. Like, you're probably pregnant, because cravings are literally like, they take over your life. That concludes all of my signs and symptoms that you should not ignore if you think there is any possibility that you are pregnant, or if you're wondering if you should take a pregnancy test. If any of these symptoms or signs are happening to you, take a pregnancy test. Like, it's better safe than sorry. Even if it says no, like, it's fine. If it says yes, congratulations. I wouldn't just ignore these signs like it's nothing, because you could be pregnant. And if you are, you want to get your prenatal pills ASAP. You want to get the best health care. You want to start going to prenatal appointments, and you want to start preparing for your baby. So if you are experiencing any of these signs, you're probably pregnant. Congratulations, and yes, take the test. Thank you for watching another video. If you are subscribed, thank you for coming back. And if you are just passing on by, don't forget to click that subscribe button. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you all in the next one.